The Rape of the Lock by Alexander Pope, first published in 1712. Close by those meads, forever crowned with flowers, where Thames with pride surveys his rising towers, there stands a structure of majestic fame, which from the neighboring Hampton takes its name. Here Britain statesmen oft the fall foredoom of foreign tyrants and of nymphs at home. Here thou, great Anna, whom 3 realms obey, dost sometimes counsel take, and sometimes tea. Hither the heroes and the nymphs resort, to taste a while the pleasures of a court. In various talk the instructive hours they passed, who gave a ball or paid the visit last. One speaks the glory of the British Queen, and one describes a charming Indian screen. A third interprets motions, looks, and eyes. At every word a reputation dies. Snuff or the fan supply each pause of chat, with singing, laughing, ogling, and all of that. Meanwhile, declining from the noon of day, the sun obliquely shoots his burning ray. The hungry judges soon the sentence sign, and wretches hang that jurymen may dine. The merchant from the exchange returns in peace, and the long labors of the toilet cease. Belinda now, whom thirst of fame invites, burns to encounter 2 adventurous knights. At Omber singly to decide their doom, and swells her breast with conquest yet to come. Yet straight the 3 bands prepare in arms to join, each band the number of the sacred 9. Soon as she spreads her hand, the aerial guard descend and sit on each important card. First Ariel perched upon a matador, there each according to the rank they bore. For sylphs, yet mindful of their ancient race, are as when women wondrous fond of place. Behold 4 kings in majesty revered, with hoary whiskers and a forky beard, and 4 fair queens whose hands sustain a flower, the expressive emblem of their softer power. 4 knaves in garbs succinct a trusty band, caps on their heads and halberds in their hand. And party-colored troops, a shining train, draw forth to combat on the velvet plain. The skillful nymphs review her force with care. Let spades be trumps, she said, and trumps they were. Now move to war her sable matadors, in show like leaders of the swarthy Mars. Spadilio, first unconquerable lord, led off 2 captive trumps and swept aboard. As many more Manilio forced to yield, and marched a victor from the verdant field. Himbasto followed, but his face more hard, gained but 1 trump and 1 plebeian card. With his broad saber next, a chief in years, the hoary majesty of spades appears. Put forth 1 manly leg, to sight revealed, the rest his many-colored robe concealed. The rebel knave, who dares his prince engage, proves the just victim of his royal rage. Even mighty Pam, that kings and queens o'erthrew and mowed down armies in the fights of Loo, said chance of war, now destitute of aid, falls undistinguished by the victor's spade. Thus far both armies to Belinda yield, now to the barren fate inclines the field. His warlike Amazon her host invades, the imperial consort of the crown of spades. The club's black tyrant first her victim died, spite of his haughty mane and barbarous pride. What boots the regal circle on his head, his giant limbs in state unwieldly spread, that long behind he trails his pompous robe, and of all monarchs only grasps the globe? The baron now his diamond pours apace, the embroidered king he shows but half his face, and his refulgent queen with powers combined, of broken troops and easy conquest find. Clubs, diamonds, hearts in wild disorder seen, with throngs promiscuous stroll the level green. Thus when dispersed a routed army runs, of Asia's troops and Africa's sable sons, with like confusion different nations fly, of various habits and of various dye. The pieced battalions disunited fall, in heaps on heaps one fate o'erwhelms them all. The knave of diamonds tries his wily arts, and wins, oh shameful chance, the queen of hearts. At this the blood of the virgin's cheek forsook, a livid paleness spreads o'er all her look. She sees and trembles at the approaching ill, just in the jaws of ruin and Codille, and now as oft in some distempered state, on one nice trick depends the general fate. An ace of hearts steps forth, the king unseen, lurked in her hand and mourned his captive queen. He springs to vengeance with an eager pace, and falls like thunder on the prostrate ace. The nymph exulting fills with shouts the sky, the walls, the woods, and long canals reply. O thoughtless mortals, ever blind to fate, too soon dejected and too soon elate, sudden those honors shall be snatched away, and cursed forever this victorious day. For lo, the board with cups and spoons is crowned, the berries crackle and the mill turns round. On shining altars of Japan they raise the silver lamp, and fiery spirits blaze. From silver spouts the grateful liquors glide, while China's earth receives the smoking tide. At once they gratify their scent and taste, and frequent cups prolong the rich repast. Straight hover round the fair her airy band, some as she sipped the fuming liquor fanned, some o'er her lap the careful plumes displayed, trembling and conscious of the rich brocade. Coffee, which makes the politician wise, and seen through all things with his half-shut eyes, send up in vapors to the baron's brain new stratagems and radiant lock to gain. Ah, cease, rash youth, desire, desist ere 'tis too late. Fear the just gods and think of Scylla's fate. Changed to a bird and sent to flit in air, she dearly pays for Nissa's injured hair. But when to mischief mortals bend their will, how soon they find fit instruments of ill. Just then Clarissa drew, with tempting grace, a two-edged weapon from her shining case. So ladies in romance assist their knight, present the spear and arm him for the fight. He takes the gift with reverence and extends the little engine on his fingers' ends. This just behind Belinda's neck he spreads, as o'er the fragrant steams she bends her head. Swift to the lock 1,000 sprites repair. A 1,000 wings by turns blow back the hair, and thrice they twitched the diamond in her ear. Thrice she looked back, and thrice the foe drew near. Just in that instant anxious Ariel sought the close recesses of the virgin's thought, as on the nosegay in her breast reclined. He watched the ideas rising in her mind. Sudden he reviewed, in spite of all her art, an earthly lover lurking at her heart. Amazed, confused, he found his power expired, resigned to fate, and with a sigh retired. The pier now spreads the glittering forefecks wide. To enclose the lock now joins it to divide. Even then, before the fatal engine closed, a wretched sliff too fondly interposed, fate urged the shears and cut the sliff in twain. But airy substance soon unites again. The meeting points the sacred hair dissever from the fair head forever and forever. Then flashed the living lightnings from her eyes, and screams of horror rend the affrighted skies. Not louder shrieks to pitying heaven are cast when husbands or when lapdogs breathe their last, or when rich china vessels fallen from high in glittering dust and painted fragments lie. Let wreaths of triumph now my temples twine. The victor cried, the glorious prize is mine. While fish in streams or birds delight in air, or in a coach and six the British fair, as long as Atlantis shall be read, or the small pillow grace a lady's bed, while visits shall be paid on solemn days, while numerous wax lights in bright order blaze, while nymphs take treats or assignations give, so long my honor, name, and praise shall live. What time would spare from steel receives its date, and monuments like men submit to fate. Still could the labor of the gods destroy, and strike to dust the imperial towers of Troy. Still could the works of mortal pride confound, and hew triumphal arches to the ground. What wonder then, fair nymph, thy hair should feel the conquering force of unresisted steel. That was Canto 3. I'm Jonathan Ingwall. Thank you for listening.